That summer I was getting paid. I called it the summer of no worries, because I was just getting paid sitting at home. And it's the first break that I had in my entire career. I literally was getting paid to sit at home. And I just started kind of looking at the landscape, and different guys were going up there, and some guys weren't getting to try out, and some guys were, and just kind of looking at the lay of the land. And all of a sudden Vince can book anybody he wants at any time. So he had a gluttony of talent. Okay, now's not probably the time to even think about that. I never thought, oh, he'll never have me back. None of that. I just knew the timing wasn't right. But then, I'm becoming a young businessman, and I'm hearing about the WCW revenues and this and that, because my dad was, for a time, looking at putting together, and he did. There were some different people about acquiring WCW. It never got to the level that Eric Bischoff was going to buy it. But from the business side, WCW, $100 million business. So is there an opportunity there or not to start my own company? Is that a viable option? And just as time went on during those months, then I started thinking, there's a void in the marketplace that that's the genesis of me saying, let's start a promotion.
So TNA was a great idea, and you launched the careers of many stars. It became a destination for key free agents. How much pride did you take in creating a viable competitor for WWE?
Man, it was, what a ride. I would not, it calls me, turmoil in my life from a personal situation. I went through some really dark times, but launching a promotion and building it, and AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, there's a whole list of talent. I never had in my mind, and I stress this, whether it was Dixie Carter, the Carter family, to the talent, folks, guys, quit looking 1-2. We're the alternative, and let's make a lot of money being the alternative. So as we were rocking and rolling and getting on Spike, Steve, we started on a Saturday night time slot that was kind of a graveyard spot. Let's just see if they could succeed. Literally the first month we pulled a number. And then, we went from Saturday night out of prime time to Thursday night out of prime time to 1 hour in prime time to 2 hour in prime time, really in lightning time. In inside of 24 months. And to do that, that's, one of my greatest business accomplishments out of the ring, is to really take an idea or a dream into a reality and, turn it into a $50 million company. And we were producing talent and producing content, and, we were seen in over 100 countries internationally. We were a rocking and rolling viable number 2. And I take a lot of pride and proud accomplishments, because you've been on ball teams. When you get everybody rowing in the same direction, it's no stopping. It's truly a labor of love that you can move mountains if you're all headed in the same direction.
Okay, so what caused you to leave your executive position with TNA?
So, the real short, simple answer to that is, I completely lost confidence in executive leadership. Our goals weren't aligned. And when I say that, I was more focused on growing the business from a financial perspective. I didn't like where the company was headed. I wasn't a majority owner anymore. And so I knew that I really got 2 options: stay here. And, I was a young businessman, early 40s. If I'm going to make a move, I'm going to do it now, because I just wasn't happy. And, I think in a lot of ways, back to my 3rd generation, I got an entrepreneurial spirit, and I wanted to try something new. And so I thought it was time. And I resigned for the company and headed out. And I'm very grateful for the Carters and the time and the opportunity. But I saw the writing on the wall long before Bob and Janice and Dixie did.
Really?
Yeah.
But philosophically, one big difference that you would have had with them?
Expectations.
Okay.
Expectations. I believe the Carters wanted to be number 2, and I wanted to be a strong alternative. And that may not make a lot of sense, but you can see the moves that were made. They brought Hogan in. They brought a lot of talent in that were very high dollar, that had made their name elsewhere. And we did that as well. But in my opinion, once we got Kurt, Team 3D, and Christian Cage, and a few others, I knew that AJ and Joe and our core talent, They were becoming our stars of tomorrow, and I wanted to continue with the future stars of our homegrown talent, and they wanted to get to the promised land a lot quicker. So I think the expectations and the vision of the company, I wanted to be TNA, and they wanted to be Impact Wrestling, if you will, and there's a big difference.
Okay. Give or take around this time frame, you kind of started having some problems with some alcohol.
Yeah.
And when did you decide that it was time, hey, I need to get something done and address this and get it behind me?
So, boy, we could dive off into that. So 2014, launched Global Force Wrestling. The stars didn't really align, and the time came. Anthem Wrestling Exhibitions, they came in and acquired my old company, acquired TNA. They brought me back on board. When that came in, I was, again, trying to do too many things, too many expectations. I came a time in my life, and I say you can classify it any way. Look, you've had plenty of Steve Weisers, and more power to you. The way I view the disease of addiction, I believe it's genetic. Some people can't be exposed to cancer or sunlight too long to get skin cancer. Some people have heart disease. If you're born with the gene of addiction, you're predisposed to it grabbing a hold of you. And I went from having a few Steve Weisers to having a few more, and then basically drinking 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 7 days a week. And then, I'll say I fell off the cliff, if you will, in 2017 when I went back and I felt, because I was trying to rebuild a company, I thought, and trying to just do too many things at once, teenage kids, just life jumped on me. And I woke up one morning after a really bad run, and I knew that I needed a change in my life. It's the greatest. October 25th, 2017 is, I've got 5 kids and great wife, but a real day that is, for me, that I wouldn't be sitting here today had I not made the decision. It was that serious for me that I just was going in a dark hole, and it kept getting darker and darker and darker. And when I made the commitment with a boatload of support from Karen and kids and all kinds of folks, when I made that decision, almost instantaneously, my life began to turn around, because it was something that, Steve, I thought a drinking problem was running out of money. I mean, I really did. And some folks can drink alcohol and put it down. We talked before we came on the air. Hey, you got into training, main event in WrestleMania, tore the house down. But when it came time, hey man, I got to put alcohol down. You can do that. If you have the disease of addiction, you've got an allergy of the body and an obsession of the mind. And it's a genetic disposition, I believe, that put me down that path. And so that literally turned my life around. But I got into a dark hole in 17.
So you've been, what, give or take 5 years sober now?
That'd be 5 in October. So 5 years.
And so coming out of that, a stronger, healthier Jeff Jarrett in 2018, you're going to go to the WWE Hall of Fame. What did you think when you got the call?
When I tell you, Steve, it's so bizarre because obviously the wellness program, Road Dogg was there for me. He's been sober about 10 years, Road Dogg and Karen. And so it was in the wellness program. And so 56 days I stayed. So I came home 4 days before Christmas, New Year's, and it's the first Sunday of 2018. And then long story short is that day I was notified, hey, you want to go in the Hall of Fame? I'm like, I walked down and Karen's putting on her makeup. I said, hey, they want me to go in the Hall of Fame. She just looked over. I won't say